Hi everyone, this video is going to show you how to create new questions in ExamSoft or how to modify existing questions in ExamSoft. So upon logging in, you're going to come to this screen. And you can either create questions by clicking here or by clicking here. After clicking on whichever icon you choose, you are going to choose what type of question you are going to create. After choosing the question, you need to select what folder the question is going to be saved in. Please keep in mind you're only going to have access to the specific course you are creating or modifying questions for, but I have access to all of the courses. So for example, if you only have access to Pharmacotherapeutics 1, you're only going to see Pharmacotherapeutics 1, and then you will see all of the modules, I do believe. So then, let's say you're creating questions for the cardiology module, you're going to want to save the questions to that folder. Once you choose your folder, if this is a group of questions, you can group them. There are instructions in the tip sheet that show you how to group questions, but if you don't want to group them, that's okay too, and I can group them for you. Next, you're going to add the categories for tagging. Again, you're not going to have access to all of these courses like I do. So the first thing you want to choose is your topic. So you'll come to Pharmacotherapeutics, the cardiology module, and then the topic. So let's say this is hypertension. So you would click hypertension. Then you're going to choose the learning outcomes. I know some people have been doing the College of Pharmacy learning outcomes or ABOs. If you're going to add those, go ahead. If not, you need to add the ACPE Appendix 1 tagging. So let's just say it was pharmacotherapy. You would click on it. And then last, you need to add the cognitive level, introductory, intermediate, or advanced. So then you can come back up here, check to make sure that your assigned categories are in fact saved, and then hit done. And you'll see them over here. Weight, you don't need to worry about the weight of the question. That's something I'll take care of. You may have to worry about the multiple answers portion. For example, if it's a fill in the blank and they're going to receive partial credit, you need to click that. If it's a multiple choice question that is a select all that apply, you need to click that. It'll only let you click on one or the other. Attachments, there are instructions in the tip sheets on how to add attachments. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to add an attachment here. It's either going to be a physical handout that we give the students, or it's going to be an image that is actually in the question stem, which again, I show you how to create an image in the instruction sheet. You do need to remember that the students are taking this assessment on a small laptop screen, so they don't see these attachments as well as we do. The only time you're ever going to use internal comments is if you're creating an essay or a short answer question. We put the answers to those questions in the internal comments, and then you hit submit, because those get manually graded. So once you've done this, you'll go ahead and you can either type in your question or you can copy and paste it from a Word document. And again, I give instructions on how to paste text into the question stem and the answer choices via the paste as plain text function. So once you type in your question, type in your answers, choose the correct answer, and then you always want to hit approve. Don't ever hit save. Save, it will save the question, but you can't access the question to use it on an exam, so you just always want to hit approve. Upon hitting approve, you also want to write down the ID number right here, because when you go to add it to an assessment, you need to have that ID number so you know how to search for the question, which I'll show you how to do in a little bit. So once you have finished the question, you can hit approve. If you notice up here I changed it the folder to the pharmacy test question bank, so that way this question isn't saved in the pharmacotherapeutics folder. So you'd hit approve, and then you could go back to questions, and you see that in the pharmacy test question bank, that's the question right there. When you're creating a new question, when you go to that particular question bank, the new questions will be the very first questions in the bank. So it makes it easier for you to look for them when you're adding them to an assessment. So that's basically how you create a new question in ExamSoft. Now let's say you want to modify an existing question. So again, you would do the same thing. You would go start here, go to questions, choose your folder, so cardiology module, and then all of the questions come up. And you can, if you'd like to, look through and find the specific ID number that you are looking for, or you can slide over here, and if you know the question ID, you can type it in here and then hit search. If you don't know the question ID, but you do know the question, you can type in part of the question stem or part of the answer and hit search. That's not as accurate because it can pull up more than one question, and sometimes it will show you that it can't find the question at all. So it's always best to have the ID number if you're looking to modify an existing question. So let's say we're going to modify this question. You would click on the ID number and then click on Create New Revision/Edit. Now if you'll notice, here in the ID number will not change, but the revision number will, and so will the creator. After every revision, the creator will change. So then you would go in, make your adjustments as you would, as if you were creating a new question. You would go in, make your edits, and then again hit approve. And then you could go back out to questions. I always find that it's a lot easier for me to create and or modify existing questions before adding them to an assessment, but if you come up with a better and different way, that's fine too. So once you're finished creating all of your questions and then modifying existing questions that you're going to use on an assessment, you're going to come back up here to assessments, and then again, find your course folder that you have access to and the year, and then choose the module, and then click on the assessment. And then you'll click Add Questions to Assessment. And again, you can search by the question ID, the title, stem, or answers. It's always best to have the question ID, but if you only have the title, stem, or answers, you can search that way too. And also remember, any new questions are going to be the questions at the very top, which also makes it easier. So then you always want to search questions by folder. You can also search questions by category, but if you don't choose which folder to search from, ExamSoft will search its entire database for the question that you're looking for, and it takes a long time. So you would just click on pharmacy, pharmacotherapeutics, cardiology, and then here's the question bank. And again, if it's a new question, it's going to be right here, so you can go ahead and click it, or you can type in the ID in order to find it, or again, the title, question, stem, or answer. And then once you click the question that you want to use, so we'll use this as an example, you would scroll all the way down and click Add Selected to Assessment. I'm not going to because I just got finished with this assessment and don't want to alter it in any way. So you'll go ahead, you'll do that, you'll click Add Selected to Assessment. You will find that if the question is already in the assessment, it will not let you add it to the assessment, which is nice when determining if there are duplicate questions on an assessment, because ExamSoft won't let you do that. So then, once you would add the Once you add the question to the assessment, you'll see it'll be the last question that was added. And then you can go ahead and continue adding questions. You'll see the categories and how many questions are tagged with each category. Over here on the side, you're not going to touch anything because this is what the coordinators put in, so you don't need to worry about changing anything. Always hit save, because if you accidentally get kicked out of ExamSoft or your computer shuts down and you haven't saved anything, you're going to lose everything that you've done, at least in terms of adding questions to the assessments. The question themselves won't be deleted, but anything that you've added to the assessment will be. Also, don't ever hit post assessment. That's something that the assessment team does once they are ready to give the assessment to the students. So the only thing you're ever going to want to hit when in an actual assessment is save. Along with that, only one course director at a time or one person at a time can edit an assessment. So just know that if you go into an assessment, there will be a red marker that comes up here that tells you that someone else is editing the assessment, and that basically you can't edit the assessment. When you're finished adding questions to the assessment, you need to make sure that you log out of ExamSoft. Don't just click out of your web browser, because if you click out of your web browser, ExamSoft doesn't recognize that you have actually logged out of ExamSoft. So if I would then try to come back in and edit this assessment, it's going to show me that you are still editing the assessment. So you always just want to click log out. Again, there are a lot of instructions on the tip sheet that help you create tables within questions and do some other things in terms of formatting. So make sure that you take a look at that. And if you have any questions regarding the video or the tip sheet, make sure you ask your coordinator. Have a great day.